shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
It's a fairly quiet start this morning. There is some precipitation down to our south. We're going to see some cloud cover this morning, but temperature is also a big story. I'll talk about how cold it will feel as you head out the door.
And we are tracking those potential icy roads out there this morning as you look live. Right here, this is the belt line. We'll get an update on any trouble spots we find from the WRAL Storm Tracker.
And playing it safe. Schools in the Triangle and northern communities are either delaying or canceling classes altogether today. The roads causing concern as ice sticks around, especially in those communities that got a lot of snow over the weekend, the 2.5 inch places. Good morning, everyone. It is 4:30. Glad to be with you on this Monday morning. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Yes, we get things started here. Those the melt and then the refreeze is part of the problem here this morning. We'll be tracking it. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now with one of those places that's off 2.5 inches of snow.
Yeah, here's Roxborough, and you can see here plenty of snow on the sidewalks. It's piled up here on the sides of the roads, but right here in downtown Roxborough, everything looks fine. I'll tell you though, even just driving in through Raleigh, there was a puddle and the puddle was frozen. It was not in a place where you would drive on it, but still, it's out there this morning. 30 degrees is our temperature. Our wind is calm in the Triangle, but we do have a wind chill in a few places. Back that up a little bit. And the wind chill is 22 in South Hill. It's 23 in Fayetteville. It is 27 degrees in Southern Pines, 28 in Clinton, 26 in South Hill. So temperatures all across the viewing area are in the mid-20s to right around 30 degrees. So again, everything that's out there is going to be frozen. We'll be in the 20s all the way up until around 10 a.m. and then we'll climb into the low 50s, which is going to feel balmy compared to what's coming the next couple of days.
And we're in the WRAL Storm Tracker right now, tracking road conditions on the belt line. So we'll give you a live look now. Really no trouble spots that we're seeing so far this morning. Right now, we are on our way to Granville County. You heard Elizabeth mention that there could be some icy roads out there. But just as far as what we've seen so far this morning on our drive, just a few puddles that are frozen over on the side of the road, but nothing that's actually impacting your morning commute. But we'll be sure to keep a lookout on it throughout the day. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
This morning, Wake County schools are open as usual, but other schools in the area are closed or delayed because of potentially dangerous road conditions. Orange, Franklin, and Warren County schools are closed. Other districts, including Durham and Chapel Hill Carborough schools, are delayed 2 hours this morning. Several other school systems will have remote learning today. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from Hillsborough, where schools are going to be closed for the day. Laura, school leaders are playing it safe.
Renee, they sure are. And here's why. You see this little sliver of ice here. It's a sheet of ice, clear ice, and some that you can actually see. Some people here, especially in northern Orange County, reporting entire roads still having sheets of ice. So as we're here at Cedar Ridge High School, this is just one of several schools that will be closed across the county. All of the county schools in the county of Orange, we know, will be closed today because of the hazardous conditions. The secondary roads across the area still covered in ice. So this is what our crew saw yesterday evening while riding around the area. Slick spots and patchy ice causing some unsafe driving conditions. Parents who live even near their child's schools, even those who say they could walk to school, have reported sheets of ice on the roads in their neighborhoods and expressing concern about that. One resident explains how dicey it is in her neck of the woods.
As you're coming down, it's kind of a little slick, and then there's bare road, and then a little slick, and then there's a bare road.
Yes, of course. So the Orange County Sheriff's Office also warning drivers this morning, if you have to be out, to please take it easy. We know that as the morning progresses and the sun comes up, we do expect to see some melting in the area and some improvements. So, of course, the school district will go from there as far as what school looks like tomorrow. You can find a full list of school delays and closures right now on WRAL.com. Laura Levine, WRAL News. We're live in Hillsborough.
We're also working to learn more about a shooting investigation in Raleigh. It happened on Western Boulevard at Clanton Street after 10 o'clock last night. As you can see, there was a heavy police presence there. Police say it is unclear if anyone was shot.
A Cary man arrested in connection to a carjacking that led to a chase in Johnson County is due in court today. An arrest warrant identifies the man as Donald Banks. Victims and witnesses say he stole a car from outside a Raleigh home, then carjacked a couple in Johnston County near Clayton. The warrant says Banks assaulted the couple. The man had severe cuts to his arms and legs. The woman was dragged by the car. They were both taken to the hospital. Banks led Johnston County deputies and Clayton police officers on a chase before he eventually pulled over and was arrested. Banks faces 10 charges, 6 of them felony counts. He's expected to appear in court this afternoon.
Firefighters in California are in a critical stage of their battle against these massive wildfires there. Crews are making progress, but the fire threat remains very high this week. The Santa Ana winds that are fueling the fires are expected to keep blowing for the next 3 days. That, combined with dry conditions, leading to more red flag warnings for that already devastated area. 24 people are now confirmed dead in those fires. Dozens of others are missing. More than 12,000 buildings have been destroyed. Many of them are homes. Evacuation orders remain in place for more than 100,000 people. More than 80,000 others are in evacuation warning zones from those fires, meaning they may have been asked to leave at a moment's notice.
Confirmation hearings for President-elect Donald Trump's nominees will begin this week in the Senate. Tomorrow, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will have his hearing. So will Veterans Affairs Secretary nominee Doug Collins and Secretary of the Interior nominee Doug Burgum. More confirmation hearings are scheduled for Wednesday. They include DHS Secretary nominee Kristi Noem, Secretary of State nominee Marco Rubio, and Secretary of Transportation nominee Sean Duffy. The nominees for CIA Director, Energy Secretary, and Management and Budget Director will also have hearings today.
We are learning more about a woman found dead after her home went up in flames in Harnett County. Neighbors called 911 after seeing that fire that got started on Kivett Road yesterday morning. WRAL spoke with a woman who says she didn't know her neighbor, but described her as a quiet woman who kept to herself. She describes the moment she noticed that house going up in flames.
We come out the front window, and the middle window the rooms were fully engulfed in flames, and smoke was coming out of the back of the house.
We are working to learn the name of the woman who died. Firefighters are working to determine the cause.
Durham's Board of County Commissioners will meet tonight. That's happening at 7 at the Administration Building on East Main Street. You can also watch it live on the county's website or the Durham County Government YouTube channel.
They're loud, they're daring, and in many cases dangerous. That's why Triangle law enforcement are teaming up to put the brakes on groups of motorcycle and ATV riders on public streets. For towns around the Triangle, the so-called 919 bike life is a headache for police and drivers. The 2-, 3-, and 4-wheelers weave in and out of traffic. Many of the drivers do tricks at the same time. The problem is those bikes are unregistered, uninsured, and officers say they don't stop for blue lights. Tonight at 6, WRAL Investigates shows us the high-tech effort to nab these riders and catch, in many cases, the riders are busting themselves.
Time is 4:38 here in the WRAL Live Center. I want to show you an image here. This is from Old Oxford Road and appears to be near Dearborn Drive right now in Durham. And it appears there's some kind of investigation going on right now. Our photojournalist Michael Joyner is out there right here. And you'll see there's the crime scene tape that's blocking off this part of the street, as well as the two homes in the back, which appear to be multifamily units. In addition to Durham police, if you look toward the right part of the photo, you'll also see a sheriff's vehicle is there as well. In terms of what specifically is happening, that's unclear. But stay with WRAL News because we're going to talk to Michael and try to get some more information. And as soon as we have it, we'll report it here in the WRAL Live Center.
Chris, thank you. Today, a celebration is happening for a new apprenticeship program for Wake Tech students. There will be an athletic-style signing ceremony for the first apprenticeship program between Amgen and Wake Tech. Amgen announced plans last month to invest $1 billion to expand its manufacturing facility in Holly Springs. 12 Wake Tech students are taking part.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington Commanders played a wild one in their wild card round last night. And this was a close to the finish game, tied at 20 late in the fourth quarter. Zane Gonzalez with the kick, a chance to win it on the final play. Hits the upright, and it still went through. The Commanders knocked the Buccaneers out of the playoffs with a 23-20 win. First time in 19 years Washington has won a playoff game. They'll play the Detroit Lions next week. And Philadelphia Eagles also moving on in the playoffs. Not as dramatic, though. They scored a touchdown less than 2 minutes into their game against the Green Bay Packers and never really looked back. They beat the Packers in their wild card game 22-10. And Buffalo Bills are also on their way to the next round of the playoffs. They fell behind the Denver Broncos early in their game, but they turned it around quickly and scored 31 unanswered points to win it 31-7. They will host the Baltimore Ravens next week.
We'll have more playoff football for you next week on WRAL and Fox 50. Saturday night at 8, the Washington Commanders and Detroit Lions play on Fox 50. Then on Sunday at 3 on WRAL, the Philadelphia Eagles will host the winner of tonight's game between the LA Rams and Minnesota Vikings. That game between LA and Minnesota will be played in Arizona. It was supposed to be played in Los Angeles, but it was moved because of the ongoing impact of the Southern California wildfires. The Rams shared videos to Instagram showing a field with their logo being installed at the stadium in Arizona. Kickoff for that game is 8. You can watch it on ESPN.
And this morning, a new chapter begins on Today. It's Craig Melvin's first day as co-anchor right there. And you can see he'll be joining Savannah Guthrie. His welcome party will be full of surprises. That is coming up after our newscast on Today.
It is 4:41, lowering nicotine levels. The actions President Biden is expected to make today to make cigarettes less addictive.
And a surprise in the sky. Tonight you can see an exciting vanishing act as Mars dips behind the moon, when you should look up to see it.
Here's a live look at downtown Cary this morning. We are dry for the next several days, but our next system isn't far off. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner explains whether this system will be wet or wintry.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
It is 4:45 and temperatures are cold out there this morning, but it's going to be even colder later this week. But we're below freezing almost everywhere. 30 in Durham, 30 in Raleigh, and 29 in Fayetteville. And of course, we have crews out taking a look at the roads where there's still some ice in places that you need to know about, especially in our northern counties where we had some accumulating snow on Friday. Lewisburg, 28, 25 in Tarboro, 29 Fayetteville, 26 Irwin, 28 Rocky Mount. Almost everybody's in the 20s. I think here at RDU is the only place we're looking at 30 degrees. So it is definitely a real cold start out there for you this morning. Wind chill too, just a little bit of it. It feels like 25 in South Hill, feels like 23 in Fayetteville. So bundle up as you're walking the dog. Temperatures will be cold until this afternoon. We'll hit 51.
An emergency task force in Russia is helping to respond to an oil spill in the Kerch Strait. 2 tankers were damaged in a storm and have been leaking for a month. Russian state TV shows footage of some of the birds that were found covered in oil at a rescue center. Volunteers have been cleaning them and giving them medicine to boost their immune systems. The emergency ministry says 155,000 tons of contaminated sand and soil have been collected. The oil has spread over an area that is 9 miles long.
President Joe Biden is expected to propose a plan limiting nicotine levels in cigarettes. Biden could make the announcement today. The exact details of the proposal have not been released. It's not expected to include e-cigarettes or nicotine replacement patches and lozenges. Students have suggested nicotine levels would need to be slashed by up to 95% to make cigarettes non-addictive. We are just a week away from President-elect Trump's inauguration. Yesterday, a full dress rehearsal was held in Washington, D.C. Trump's own Marine Band performed all of the songs that they will play during the ceremony. Yesterday's run-through included stand-ins for Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance to ensure that everything is good to go.
Attorney General Merrick Garland is expected to release the findings of an investigation into President-elect Donald Trump's possible involvement in 2020 election interference. The report is in Garland's hands after the resignation of special counsel Jack Smith. Smith's investigation spanned 2 years and included interviews with hundreds of witnesses. Trump is likely to squash the report once he takes office. His legal team is still fighting to keep it sealed.
The moon and Mars pull off a rare vanishing act starting tonight. The wolf moon is the first full moon of winter and of the new year. It'll rise just before sunset tonight and be up all night. And it will slip below the western horizon only after the sun rises. But here's the exciting thing. If you watch closely throughout the night, you may spot the planet Mars dip behind the moon, only to reemerge a short time later. Both the moon and Mars should be quite bright. And NASA Ambassador Tony Rice says what might impress you the most when you watch this is how fast things are moving.
You don't have a really good frame of reference when you're looking up into the big giant sky. So when you have another frame of reference, like a planet that's a couple of 10 light minutes away, that's more or less stationary there, you really see how fast the moon is moving.
And he says the red planet will begin disappearing behind the moon's southern edge at 9:13 tonight and reemerge from behind the northeastern edge at 10:25 p.m. Well, this morning when I was walking into the building here at WRAL, I looked up over at the tower, and there is the moon, bright. The clouds had parted just a little bit. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. I didn't look to see if there was Mars, though. But I saw the moon.
That's a really great treat. Tony is the best about sharing all these things with us to share with you guys. And so that's going to be fun. We should be fairly clear tonight. This morning we do have some cloud cover, but that's going to be moving out later on today. Of course, the big story this morning is we do have some delays in one school closure because of the potential for some slick roads out there in our northern counties. The next thing that happens is bitter cold. We're not getting any warmer. We're only getting colder. We'll start to feel that tomorrow, but definitely by Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to feel really cold. And then another round of rain on Saturday. This one really looks like it's going to be all liquid for us, and we'll talk about why in just a little while. This is where you'll find more icy spots potentially, so Orange and Durham County, and then all the counties that border Virginia all the way over toward Halifax County. That's where you'd have a better chance of seeing icy spots, and that's not because of the temperature. That's where we had some heavier snowfall on Friday. You can still see lots of snow there on the sidewalks here in Roxborough. It is clear from the streets right here, but you can see how anything that was left on the streets that didn't get plowed is going to be slippery out there this morning. So that's what that's why the school systems are delaying. It is 30 officially at the airport. Our dew point's 21, so it is dry out there. We take a look at temperatures town by town. 26 Henderson, 29 South Hill, 28 Lewisburg, Rocky Mount, Wilson, 26 right now in Goldsboro, 25 in Sanford, 27 Southern Pines. I mean, almost everybody is in the mid to upper 20s except RDU. We're holding on to 30. And it feels a little colder than that in spots. Wind chill of 23 in Fayetteville and 25 in South Hill. We are not going to see much temperature change. What we're seeing here is in the blue is where temperatures are below normal, and we're going to see that all the way through the week, really. We're going to warm up a little bit by the time we get to Friday and Saturday. You can see a little bit more of this warm air coming our way. And so these cold mornings, 22 on Wednesday morning, 20 degrees on Thursday morning. So we definitely have cold air coming our way. And it's possible that we would see another cold weather alert or advisory coming up for some of the mornings in the next few days. We will warm up a little bit Saturday and Sunday. We'll talk about the chance of rain coming up.
Thanks, Elizabeth. This is caught on video here. See the incredible moments a police officer saves a pregnant woman from a submerged car.
And helping the City of Angels, how nearby businesses are getting creative to help those affected by the Los Angeles wildfires.
R&B singer Sam Moore has died. He was best known for being half of the soul duo Sam and Dave. They rose to fame in the 1960s with hits including Soul Man. Moore's wife says he died after surgery Friday in Florida. He was 89 years old.
Police officers in Florida helped rescue a pregnant woman who was caught in her submerged car, and it was all caught on video. Palm Bay officers were called to the scene about a downed power line. When they got there, they heard banging coming from the canal and found a car flipped on its roof with a woman inside. An officer then grabbed a baseball bat from his car before rushing to the water. And you could see the officers pulling the woman out from the back of the car.
Businesses in the Bay Area are doing what they can to help the people affected by the wildfires in Los Angeles County. One bar launched a new cocktail called the City of Angels as a fundraiser. For every cocktail sold, they'll donate $3, split between the Pasadena Humane Society and the California Fire Foundation. It's become the most popular cocktail there by far. A few miles away, a bakery is selling a coconut cake for LA, and all proceeds will go to the nonprofit Restaurants Care.
A zoo in Istanbul is caring for a young gorilla that was smuggled onto a Turkish Airlines flight. The 5-month-old gorilla was found in a box on a flight from Nigeria to Turkey last month. After a competition, the zoo named him Zeytin, which means olive in Turkish. Zeytin has shown signs of recovery, including weight gain and even getting over his shyness. Officials are considering returning him to his natural habitat. Just ahead, we are keeping an eye on those slick spots on the road this morning thanks to the WRAL Storm Tracker. Ken Smith will also have an update for us on any trouble spots that he's monitoring in the traffic center.
Also, a bit of light after the devastating storms in Los Angeles. We have stories of reunions, from a man and his dog to a priceless family heirloom.
And a legend honored at the Lenovo Center. Hear from Eric Stahl after the Hurricanes retired his number.